The Courting by Meinekeime, Chapter 12, Periods and Tea. Harry's point of view. I woke up with cramps and was turning in bed. That's what girls go through every month, I asked Neville as he gave me a heating pad. Be happy that you aren't bleeding, but absorbing your stuff again. Stop talking, Neville, and give me the next letter. I read through it and stuffed the Swiss chocolates he sent me into my mouth. I hated this. I just wanted to curl up and sleep this week. But I had to meet a group of suitors this afternoon and open letters now. I had hoped to talk to all of my suitors at the ball, but it wasn't enough time to meet 800 people. So I had broken them up into groups of 25 and meet one group each day for tea. I wanted them to present their interest in me when others were around and not cower away or ignore me for the sake of business talk. I was able to eliminate quite some people with this method. Of each group, I eliminated around 8, give or take. They were either rude, seemed uninterested, ignored me. Some even tried to steal from me, but I couldn't lie. This week, some of them were victims of my mood swings and cramp. Poppy brought in mine and Eva's lunches, and we ate in silence. Who's in the list today? I asked after eating my dessert. We have a group of friends from Ireland, a businessman from London, a shop owner from Wales. I stopped listening after that. I hated my life at the moment. Why does my body do this to itself each month? What tea do we have in the house? I asked, stopping Neville's rant. We have black, green, Earl Grey, orange, different fruits, and the exotic ones your suitor sent you. And we might have caramel, too. Good. Most of the time, the tea didn't matter to me. I would drown so much sugar and honey into it, you couldn't detect the original taste. But I was trying out the teas of my suitors. I needed to know how they taste, and the quality. Sadly, I had to give up my sugar for that. But Hecka had come this week, like always, even when I placed Draco at the end of my meetings list. He hadn't sent me teas or sugar or a china set, but made his own things by sending me instructions to the sizing charm he used on my shoes, a set of warm clothing, and a pair of self-knitted fuzzy socks. I found it interesting how he couldn't sew, but he could knit. Come on, Harry, put on your clothes. We need to go downstairs. They will be here soon. I nodded and crawled out of my heaven made out of pillows and blankets. I opened my cupboard and pulled out a pair of black leggings that wouldn't dig into my poor stomach and a lavender hoodie. Who said girls only wear dresses? I slipped into my shoes and went downstairs. Harry, you seem pale. Should I send them away? Father asked, and I shook my head. It's okay, Father. I will survive. Neville and I arrived in the living room, and he put up the hood of his cloak. We had moved the coffee table to the center of the room and placed quite some couches around it so that everyone was able to sit down. Some men had already taken their seats and stood up when I entered the room. Hello, Harry. I told all my suitors to call me Harry. They were all potential husbands, so to make them call me Lord seemed strange. Hello to all of you. Let's sit down and talk, I said to them, and flopped down in one of the seats so no one could sit near me. Neville stood in the corner of the room while I tried starting a conversation and poured myself some tea. What are your opinions on house elves? And I asked and stirred my drink. A young man wearing dress pants and a shirt but no tie or jacket answered me. I think they're a good member of the magical world. We can't all be dominant creatures. We need submissive ones too. I understand for a household as big as yours, one doesn't suffice, and there aren't too many of them around. But breeding farms for house elves aren't the solution. I nod. He would definitely stay on my suitors list. I disagree. House elves are forced in this role to serve their masters like slaves. I think we should free them. We are a modern society. We should know better than to maintain slavery, a man in his mid-20s said. He wore some jeans and a red t-shirt. I had noticed his rather muggle-born opinions, and I had let it slide until now, but I needed my mate to have some political tendencies like me. The man after him simply agreed with the first. I would have to keep my eye on him. Maybe he agreed because it was his opinion, or he didn't have one, or read my reactions and acted accordingly. We had a nice talk about creatures and the Order of the Phoenix and blood purity. I had to eliminate 5 suitors for not knowing the origins of most pureblood families and their high holdings of the creature inheritance. I poured myself another cup of exotic tea and drank it, just to spit it out immediately. Is something wrong, Harry? Someone asked. No, the tea is just salty, I said and looked at the pinkish drink. It's called Sutantasi. It's called Sutantani. It's a traditional Mongolian beverage. I should have warned you. I wasn't aware someone took a cup from the pot. A man a little farther away said, No, it's fine. I was just surprised. How did you get it? I asked. My parents are from Mongolia, and it's a drink I grew up with, he said, and when I looked at him, I was able to identify him as an Asian man. Even when I didn't like the tea, he had definitely accomplished the task of this month. He had made himself stand out of the group, and he was aware of their origins and kept in touch with his cultural traditions, instead of giving them up for the sake of fitting in. I gave the cup to Country when nobody was looking. I wasn't able to get it down. Even when the meeting was nice, I was still cramping and my bladder started to fill with the amount of tea I drank today. I was happy when Father sent them all away. I gave each of them a letter and sent them out the door. I had exactly 2 stacks of letters. One said, You were eliminated. Best wishes on your next recording. The other had a quiz over myself in it, and the letter would open itself on December 1st, not earlier. This test was for 1. Make sure they had a conversation with me over the letters or after Death Eater meetings. 2. Test their intelligence. Some questions they would have to think to figure out. I hope this test wouldn't eliminate too many suitors and that my cramps would stop soon. End of Chapter 12.